Would I be wrong for divorcing my wife for the women I have been dating for 4 years? Welcome to r/cheating_stories, where people share their stories with cheating. How I found out my fiancé was secretly using meth, cheating, and trying to pin a baby on me. New to Reddit, but thought it would help to write down what happened to me. Our story begins in spring of 2016, when I met a girl we'll call Rosie Wellme, and Rosie immediately hit it off and began dating. Rosie was a shy, beautiful, and kind girl, but she had her demons. Her biggest flaw, and the one that caused the most issues throughout our relationship, was that she was a serial liar and just could not tell the truth or accept fault in anything. She kept up lies and hid things for months, sometimes years. I could give plenty of examples, but I think you get the point. But no matter what she did, I always gave it a pass because of her background. Her father abandoned her family and her brother and grandma were abusive towards her. Most of our relationship was long distance, since I'm originally from Mexico, but work in the US. Honestly, looking back, there were huge red flags and I should have broke it off much earlier. Immediately getting into the relationship, she became extremely jealous/controlling and forbid me from talking/hanging out with other girls, made me delete all the girls off my social media, and forbid me from going to parties. I said fine, but that I expected the same from her. I respected the rules she made for me, she did not. She never missed a party, never respected what I told her, and on multiple occasions I found hidden social media accounts. Eventually, over time, I became the same way as her, controlling and mean. Even though our relationship was pretty toxic, there were also a lot of great moments/memories. We would text/call/video chat every single day for hours and hours. I went to visit her as frequently as possible. When I was there in person, we had so many great moments together. Dinners, holidays, nice gifts, matching outfits, dancing, going to parties together, etc. But the most special moment was when we lost our virginities together. The whole time we were together, she always wanted two things: to move out of her house and a baby. We had our normal ups and downs as in any couple, and so we dated and remained together year after year. Cut forward to about July 2020. By this point I had become more mean and uncaring. The last few months I had been more cold, because I was tired of the constant lies. She had basically been begging me to agree to marry her and get together when I went this year, but with the whole COVID situation I wasn't sure if I would even be able to travel, so I would just say that I didn't want to talk about it. One night she mentions that she wants to start working at a new place, Greenhouses. However, I say no, because that place is infamous for how toxic it is. Most of the people who work there are young but drug addicts, alcoholics, and involved in gangs. How do I know? Because I have family members that have worked there and came out drug addicts, alcoholics, pregnant, or all three. Well, she said fine, I won't go, and that was that. Over the next several months I noticed several changes in her schedule, her appearance, behavior, mannerisms, etc. She became more aggressive, would always have to leave at a certain time, and became noticeably much thinner. Also, she began receiving strange friend requests on her social media, including one from a guy that seemed off, and she seemed really insistent on adding him, but we'll get to who he was. Over all these months I asked repeatedly what was going on and to just come clean, but she never did. Cut forward to last week, and I find out the horrible truth from some family members and friends. In July she did start working there behind my back, but that's just the beginning. In August she began hanging out with the wrong crowd. In September she started talking to a guy we'll call Tony. Tony is a huge drug addict and is family with a local drug lord. How do I know? Because at the time he was dating one of my cousins who he also got addicted to drugs. Well, I'm not sure of exactly when, but around that time Rosie began using crystal meth as well as other drugs, probably influenced by Tony. In October Rosie began cheating on me with Tony, and Tony began cheating on my cousin with Rosie. Knew something had happened because 3 Fridays in a row Rosie completely disappeared and ghosted me with the excuse of visiting family, but in reality she was getting high and drunk with Tony and her friends. Throughout November and December she would randomly disappear some days, including Christmas Eve, with the excuse of going to visit family, but in reality she had basically become Tony's personal sex toy. He would get her drunk and high, then have his way with her, which he had done to many girls before her. The days after she would disappear she would be completely out of it. She could barely speak. She complained about being tired, sore sleepy, lightheaded, etc. I thought she was sick, but in reality she was hungover from drinking, doing drugs, and having sex with Tony. The last 6 months of my life were a complete lie and filled with manipulation. Every day she would get high, drunk, make out and sleep with Tony, and at night she would text/call/video chat with me. Sometimes she would literally be with him making out, doing drugs, fornicating while texting with me, then literally go and call/video chat with me and act like nothing happened. I know this because I would later go on to see pictures of them together at times when I was texting with her. The entire time I would constantly ask what was wrong because I could see something was wrong. She was getting skinnier and skinnier and her mannerisms and body language changed. She never confessed anything, not one thing, and lied until the very end. She would tell me I was the one and only, that I was her world, that she wanted a family and to spend her entire life with me. She would send me revealing pictures saying they were for me when in reality they were for Tony. We would video chat and she would show me her body and brag about how thin she was getting and give me little shows, all the while giving it all to Tony. In October I let her know that this year I wanted to move in together and get married, and even then she didn't tell me anything. Then we get worst part, how do I know she was trying to pin his baby on me? Well, she had always wanted a baby and even went as far as lying about being on the pill, just so I would have sex with her with no protection, but I never let it happen. She faked being pregnant twice and both times I went to get tests and both times they came out negative. So more than likely she did the same thing to Tony, and well, since Tony is known to not be a good person, if he didn't want anything to do with the baby she would need a backup, me. All throughout December she complained about stomach issues, pains, cramps, nausea, etc. But when I asked if she knew why, she would always say she didn't know. In early December she randomly one day started talking dirty to me, telling me how the first night I arrived she really wanted to have sex with me, but it had to be with no protection, so it would be special. Sounds suspicious? On December 28th we were all good, talking about how soon we would be together and start a life together. Then on December 29th she randomly texts me saying we need to talk and basically tries every excuse under the sun to break up with me. On December 30th I found out everything and cut off anything to do with her. Then 2 days later on January 1st she left and moved in with Tony. Why would Tony actually get together with someone when he had done the same thing to many girls before? OC. Last time we had contact she mentioned she quit using meth and was going to have blood work and tests done. So what happened? Well, on December 29th she more than likely took a pregnancy test which came out positive and probably told Tony if he wanted to be with her then she would break up with me, and if he didn't, well, she would break up with him and let me get there without ever knowing anything. Now they are living together and probably going to marry soon, 4+ years with me, and she legitimately started doing meth and cheating within 2 months of meeting some random drug addict. Literally moved in with him, probably pregnant within 6 months of meeting him. I was with her for 2 years before we ever even considered having intimacy, but she gave it up to Tony in 2 months, probably even less. So now here I'm broken and left in pieces. I can't sleep at night because of the horrible mental images of them together. I miss the Rosie I once knew, not the monster that is there now. Meth and bad influences changed her. I have thought about suicide on several occasions. I'm on antidepressants and sleeping medication and I start therapy on Monday. Can't stop cheating. 2 boyfriends. 25. F. I really do feel guilty for cheating. Every day I make up an imaginary deadline for when I'm going to stop, but it's been a challenge. About 3.5 years ago I met a guy through some mutual friends on a night out for drinks. We end up exchanging numbers and I go on my way. At that time I had been single for a long while and was having fun, pretty much serial dating and experiencing the single life, going out most weekends. It was also after a really tough breakup with a serious BF I had dated through high school and early university. I was also ghosted by a guy I had recently been seeing and was content being single. So initially I was not even attracted to this new guy I met, for whatever reason, physically. After that night, I ignored his text. Then again I was out with some friends and one of their boyfriends brought this along. At first I was disappointed to see him, but somehow his personality made him slightly more attractive, and we were getting along pretty well. I decided to text back and forth, and we hung out a few times. After some time we were hanging out nearly every day. Initially I never took him seriously. I never viewed him as a potential mate. Over time we started hooking up and going out, but in my head we were never serious. I liked him and enjoyed his company, but my attraction to him paired with some of his undesirable personality traits always had me warning myself that he just wasn't the one for me. We would hang out nearly daily, have sex, go out to eat. I had met his whole family, and I was having fun. I had also been recently ghosted by this other guy that I really liked and was seeing on and off for a year. He just stopped communicating with me out of the blue, and I was very hurt. I definitely at the time used this new guy as an experience to get over the previous guy. I still had this very open relationship feeling because I always knew deep down he isn't the man for me. I would try to tell him in a gentle way that maybe we won't work out in the long run. We used to have more heated arguments in our earlier days, so I often blame his handling of those situations for why I want to break up soon, but soon never comes. He just says baby don't say that and tries to avoid the topic of breaking up. I then start to feel bad. I feel like I've used this relationship for solely my own benefit. In the earlier days going out for food, fun, and sex with each other. Now for company. In my heart he's a dear friend. I'm no longer sexually interested in him, but maintain sexual relations at a minimum because he wants it. Horrible reasoning I know, but I feel so bad for him, even though I know the right thing to do is just move on and let him be. We never moved together. I moved back in with my parents after grad school, but sleepovers used to be at least a weekly thing. Now more like a couple of times a month if that. I know I need to break up with him, but it's hard for me too. I'm attached even though I don't love him like that. Now for the cheating. So about a year and a bit ago I went to my friend's house for a birthday gathering. This friend group don't even know I'm still speaking with this BF, because I never really admitted to them that was this serious, and here's where I met another guy, let's call him B. B is just my type in terms of attraction, and we really hit it off well that night. We end up exchanging info, and although I felt some guilt inside, it wasn't enough to stop me, and I end up going out with him. We start hooking up and regularly going on dates. Months into going out he asks me to be his girlfriend. I agree without hesitation. In my head I'm like, yes, finally I will have it in me to confront my BF and break up. Here I'm still not broken up with original BF. I see B far more often than I see the BF, and the first boyfriend knows I'm not happy with us. I just wish he would break up, but he cares a lot and wants to stay. I really care about B and just wish I could get my feelings straight and be committed to just him. He treats me so well and meets my needs in every way. The first BF does not even compare. In every other way, besides having a meet with first BF 3/5 times a month, I think I'm more than capable of being a good girlfriend. I want to eventually get married and settle down, and I do imagine B as that potential person. Never once imagined BF. Now to top off feeling guilty already for cheating on both of them, but of course B pains me more. I just went and hooked up with the guy that ghosted me, who I was seeing for a year before B. I guess foreclosure? He reached out and apologized. We got to talking and met up a few times more, than boom, hooked up. I really thought I loved him too back when we were originally seeing each other, and it really hurt when he vanished. I guess I wasn't over him either. He expressed remorse for leaving and wished we could try something out. I'm thinking to myself now, there's no way I'm contemplating seeing him again, am I? What is wrong with me? I somehow justify this to make me feel better by saying that I never really considered the first guy my boyfriend, but he is walking around thinking we are exclusive despite me somewhat frequently threatening to break up with him, yet all talk no action for years. I'm just confused with my feelings. To some degree I like all three, but I know I can definitely put them in order, favorite being B, next hookup X, and least BF. I want to commit myself to B, but how can I change? What are the best next steps? Do I just tell the others I have to move on from them? Being honest just doesn't feel like an option for me. Maybe my actions are a clear indication that I must remain single, but I really want to change and be a better girlfriend to be. As I said, I'm in the other relationship as sympathy and what I can't help but feel as now his convenience previously was mine. Please don't be too harsh. I do see the wrong in my actions. I try to remain in denial and pretend that it's not reality because it pains me to recognize what I'm doing. I know it's not fair to any of them. Thank you so much for anyone who read my twisted love life. No one knows this about me because I'm ashamed. Any advice is appreciated. Would I be the asshole if I divorced my wife for a better woman that I've been dating for 4 years? I, 51 meters, am married with 2 children, 13 meters and 8 meters, and have been married to my wife, 50F, for 13 years. We are both starting to realize that our marriage is at rag and has been for many years. Around 2016 I met another woman, 31F, who I instantly fell in love with from the first time I saw her. She is of voluptuous beauty, tall in height and curvy places in the right places. Her skin is silky smooth and soft to the touch. Very pretty face, eyes and a sparkling smile, luscious soft lips, the perfect size butt, gorgeous, and amazing boobs. Her personality is like a sweetheart. Pleasant, relaxed, a good conversationalist. If I had to describe her in one word, I would say goddess. I met her at a bar with a friend. I instantly had the hots for her. We had a bit of small talk. I bought her a beer, and we exchanged phone numbers. We spoke with each other for about 5 months and became good friends. I think she knew I was in love with her from the very start. So one day she asked me if I wanted to come over to her place. I said sure, why not? And my love for her surpassed mine for my wife that day. We had some wine, and then she started kissing me. I was shocked, but decided to kiss back, and things just escalated from there. By the time we were over with our intimate experience, I was a changed man. This woman had gone from being my best friend to a girlfriend. For nearly 4 years now, I've been dating her. I see her almost weekly and have really hot sex with her nearly every time. For comparison, I haven't fucked my wife in 8 years. I've started paying for her bills, car bills, and even rented her a condo near my house, so I can see her whenever I please. Our relationship is so much better than mine with my wife has ever been. And I know she's tired of me, so I truly think it would be best for us to go our own ways, and for me to marry this woman. TLDR, want to end my marriage with my wife, because I've been dating a better woman for 4 years. Would I be the asshole? Edit, stop telling me I'm an asshole for cheating. I get it. I'm simply asking if I would be an asshole for getting a divorce. Also stop calling my GF a hoe. She's nothing like that. I want to do better. I'm going to be fully honest about everything, so be warned that this will be a very long read. My husband, 31 meters, and I, 31F, have been married 12 plus years. During the first 3 to 4 years, he had a few indiscretions, flirting, sexting, phone calls, but never met up with anyone. I was so in love with him, and so sure that he was my forever, that I forgave him time and time again. We've lived with my family off and on throughout our entire marriage. We have 2 amazing kids, 10 and 13. We kind of fell into a rut of monotony, day in and day out doing the same thing. At some point in 2019, he and I did have a foursome with another married couple while we were all very drunk. This was his idea. He wasn't really into it once it all started, but he let it play out. I posted a picture on my birthday in October announcing how accomplished I felt about my dramatic weight loss. A friend, who has always been complimentary, sent me a private message telling me that he was proud of me and asking if I was still married. I told him that I was, and left it at that. About a month later he sent another message telling me how sexy I look in my pics, and, again, asking if I was still married. I said yes, but that no longer worked as a deterrent, and by Thanksgiving, it had turned into a full-blown online affair. This continued until my husband found out just before New Year's. We ended it and blocked each other on Facebook. But temptations got the better of both of us, and by February, we were messaging again. My husband found out again within a couple of weeks, and we ended it for good. We have each other blocked. I've deleted every picture and video that he ever sent me and asked him to do the same. We haven't spoken since April 2020. We tried to go back to being friends, but temptation kept winning, and it's best to stay blocked. I did end up asking my husband for an open marriage and he agreed at first. We both started Tinder accounts and we were on Whisper talking to other people. I made a date with a guy, keeping my husband informed. The other guy ended up having to work and asked to reschedule. We agreed, but when that date came, my husband decided we shouldn't do it because he wasn't comfortable with the idea after all. But I didn't stop using Tinder or Whisper. I enjoyed the attention and the compliments. I continued to talk to people on there, which upset my husband. My husband was extremely hurt by the whole thing. The problem is that I've now realized that I would like to have an open relationship, keeping my husband #1 at all times. This is not something that he is remotely interested in. He feels like this is still cheating, just with more honesty. But he also doesn't believe that I'm capable of this level of honesty, and I do understand his reasoning. He's made it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to share his wife. I've asked him to go to therapy with me to work through our underlying issues, but he doesn't want to do this either. When I offered to leave so that we could take some time to explore ourselves, he fell into a deep depression and I ended up staying because I want so badly for him to be happy. But as time goes on, I'm feeling more and more trapped. I spoke to him 2 days ago and I told him how I'm feeling and what I want. He replied that the options are he and I exclusively, or that we should separate. I know that, while it would initially hurt to separate, I would be fine in the end. I have a huge support system and I would be able to try for some independence for the first time in my adult life. He, however, does not have anything like that. My family has been that for him over the last decade and I don't want to take that from him. Please note that my husband is still a very attractive man. He is doting and as attentive as he can be. He's always trying to fix everything around us. He can build just about anything. He's supportive of my choice to go back to school so that I can have a career. But I also feel like I'm keeping this perfect man from his perfect wife. I want what's best for him, but I feel like maybe that's not what's best for me. I just don't know if I should force him to let go because I know that he will fight for this marriage, or if I should just stop complaining and stay and try to get back on this pedestal that he keeps me on. One last side note, I had been with many partners sexually before he and I began our relationship. I was his first partner ever. This was something that he lied to me about when we first began dating. I only found this out after my affair. I have also deleted Tinder and Whisper and have been making every effort to not download them again. I appreciate any advice you all can give. Edit. Everyone seems to think that I'm with him for the money. I'm not. We live with my family. I do the housework and teach our kids at home. He chooses to work nights and sleep during the day. I've read that you all think that I only feel attractive because I'm no longer huge. You're right. I felt disgusting being so big, but I put on the weight because he enjoyed me best at a bigger size. Unfortunately, I felt so uncomfortable in my own skin that something had to be done. So, that I did for me. I'm trying to get him to love me just as much at a smaller size. You all think I would keep him from the kids. I wouldn't. But the older one is mine from a previous relationship. His father was deported. Another bad choice on my part. And we made agreements that he takes our daughter in the event of a divorce, even before she was born. You all also seem to think that I'm still on the apps. I'm not. I've been off since June. I'm not talking to other men. I'm not seeking attention right now. But, for the record, I also never got physical with anyone except my husband, outside of the foursome, during our entire relationship. I made 6 months of bad choices, but it never led to anything physical. I'm in therapy. I'm making sure to tell him every day something good about himself. Because I was told that's step 1 to falling back in love. Yes, some days it is more difficult than others. But I'm putting in the effort. I talked to him. I'll let him read this post to make sure that he didn't have anything else that I should add, and we've been having an open discussion since this was posted. I'm trying. I really am asking for advice on what I should do. All of the negative things that I've read are things my husband had already told me time and time again over the last year. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing. It really motivates me to make more of these videos. Have an amazing day.